Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel and to just a side video, special video, if you will. Um, I watched some movies recently, several movies, a bunch of movies maybe, and just give a brief, quick review, whether or not I recommend it, that kind of thing. Maybe it might be longer or harder to do this than I actually want to, um, perhaps, but. Um, Um, so trying to think of the best way to go about it and to give it to you. So let's see here. Bear with me a second. All right. Well, a recent movie, a recommended movie, highly recommended. It's still in theaters right now. A Great Awakening. A Great Awakening is a fantastic movie. Very well done. It's historical. It focuses on Benjamin Franklin and his friendship with the um, excellent evangelist known as George Whitfield. Well, his name's George Whitfield, uh, known as. Uh, I'm not going to try to come up with like any of his uh, nicknames or anything like that. Just a great evangelist from the Anglican Church, um, also called a Methodist, because he's part of the crew with John Wesley and Charles Wesley, part of the Holy Club or the Methodists. Um, anyway, uh, it doesn't focus a lot on that and brings it into that, talks about it, and it kind of gives you some background for him, for um, George Whitfield, and then goes on to the Great Awakening. Is the vast majority of the movie, of course, being told by Benjamin Franklin, if you will, uh, that kind of perspective, you know. Um, it is a very good movie. It's very, to me, it's very thought provoking. Also, I think is very close and accurate to the history, and they didn't go in any of the directions that they could have. Um, uh, you know, uh, there's just so much in the history, so they didn't head in a certain direction. Uh, because this the setting of the movie is the Constitutional Convention. So it's after the Great Awakening and stuff. So the Great Awakening has told us the story as we're looking back on it. But anyway, the Constitutional Convention is the setting of it. A couple of days in there, uh, and is all it really deals with. And that's all fine and well and good. And they don't go into all the different things that were dealt with in the Constitutional Convention and all the different speakers and the different positions and stuff like that. Which it helps this movie because it's trying to focus on a specific thing and the ultimate success, if you will, of that thing. But I'll leave it at that and just you go and watch it. Like I said, I think it's a fantastic movie. To be able to tell the rest of the story, you would probably have to have dozens more movies to get to the different aspects and particulars and tell the story right. You would need that. So anyway, so watch that. Definitely recommend it. Watched recently the Super Mario Galaxy movie. It's it's much like the first one. Uh, some people like it better than the first one. Some people like it less than the first one. Um, I've heard some that claim the first one really they did not like at all, and the second one they really like. So there's some mixture, but for the vast majority, it sounds like they all are saying mostly it's perfectly fine. It's a good movie as far as everything's in it. The It's definitely fun and enjoyable for anybody. Um, steeped in the Nintendo universe, and especially Super Mario. For Easter eggs and all those things. Um, you know, and technically, it's done very well. It looks very beautiful, uh, if you will, animation and all that. The style, the textures, and all those things. So it's very good in most senses. Um, it kind of lacks a depth of story, and it has a story to tell that's just a is like a video game, and that's perfectly fine, and it works. Uh, I may or may not revisit it much, but you know, it's good for what it is. If somebody were to play it and say they wanted to watch it with me, like one of my children or something like that, then I would go and watch it again probably. But otherwise I would probably try to run to it, like I would rewatch. Once it comes out, I'll be having a Great Awakening on Blu-ray and having I'll have Super Mario Galaxy on Blu-ray too, to match the rest of my collection. But um, it's not something I'll run to, pull off the shelf, go find it on, whatever streaming digital copy that I have and stuff like that. Um, you know, for the time being, anyway. Hold on a second. Not really rapid fire here, just on to the next movie. Watched Hail Mary as well. Kind of watched those two a couple of times. Hail Mary, it's fine. Um, I'm not the biggest fan of it. So it's well shot. There's a lot of pretty shots to it. There's a, a story being told. It's science fiction, of course. Um, you know, and where I go with science fiction, if I am not finding it creditable, then I have less enjoyment in it. I'll pull back away from it. Science fiction that's trying to say it's in the realm of real science. In other words, that's what I'm trying to say. Those kinds of things, which this, the Martian, the Interstellar, some other things like that are saying science fiction, real story. This is real science, not like Moonfall. Moonfall is nonsense, science fiction nonsense, and that's fun kind of thing that you know I don't I'm not they're not trying to make me buy into science uh, of a certain sort. If that makes sense to you, I hope that makes sense. I'm not trying to discredit the movie and say it's all terrible or anything, but I might be taken out of a movie where they're trying to say a certain thing, and I just say, oh well, I don't really, you know, I'm not buying your movie right now. But otherwise, acting good, has some heartfelt moments and stuff like that, and a lot of people like it. So, to everybody what they want. Uh, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't try it out or go see it. And if you like it, that's great. I'm glad that you like it. Um, for me, I'm just probably not going to watch it again. Is all. That's the main thing. And it took me a while to watch The Martian, to tell you the truth. To watch some of it, and just um, recently watched the whole thing, and it's fine. Again, it's okay. Going on though, watched in the same day a movie called The Drama, and then I think it's the same day, and I believe it's the same day. I watched Reminders of Him. The Drama, I wouldn't want to spoil it for anybody, but the drama that is in there is over exaggerated from the perspective of the other characters. So if you've seen the trailer, you know that Zendaya is the one that has the drama. Whatever she did that it doesn't tell you in the trailers. is the drama. The other characters, to me, overreact and inappropriately react to it. Some of the characters are in there a little differently, um, or at least a couple of the characters. So it went too far in certain directions and stuff like that. Had a bit of boringness to me. I think that they had an idea that could have been properly fleshed out and played out right, but to me, they dropped the ball along the way. They didn't do the thing they should have done. And I say should have done, meaning the thing that would have kept it from being the excessive overreaction kind of stuff that I saw. So that's kind of where I am with that one. It lost me in several places with certain characters. I was much more intrigued with Zendaya's performance and the way she played the character. Um, and I understand where they were at with it, and what they were doing, and it's kind of why I don't like it as much. The character that they were trying to use to connect with, say, the audience. Say, put yourself in the position of this character and what that character is thinking and going through, and the reactions and the what's happening, um, with again the Zendaya character, um, and and like I said, there's some of them just like no, this just should not have been the way they went with it. They did to go that way. I'm saying if I were there to try to correct it and say do this differently, it would have been done a slightly different way, and I think it would have played out better. Um, and it could have been. It almost tries to be comedic, you know, instead of what could have been dramatic and dark comedy stuff. And the comedy does not land for me, um, in that way. I hope that kind of makes sense because that's where I'm going with that. Is that that's the way they went with it. Could have been done. Could still have had comedy to it. Dramas can have comedy, plenty of them. But it being called drama and stuff like that, if they played it in a dramatic fashion in a certain way, uh, it would have played out differently. So anyway, I've spent too much time on that one. Um, it's kind of a yeah, and I don't think it's gonna last very long. So it's pretty much gone. Same day, like I said, I believe. Anyway, watched Reminders of Him, and it's based on a book, of course. The book is probably better, but the movie itself, other than a few flaws and some mediocre acting from some people at certain times, that it does really pretty well with its story and telling it and bringing you to the conclusion and all that. I think that it's a pretty good movie. To me, it was better than the drama. It kept me much more engaged than that. And, you know, not necessarily any big stars involved. There's certainly people that you'd recognize, um, and that are, I'm not saying are not big stars in their class, wherever they are, but I'm just saying it's not Zendaya like being recognized by everybody, Robert Pattinson, that kind of thing, which you have with the drama. So yeah, Reminders of Him was well done. It's one of those kind of movies like what came out recently as Regretting You. It's similar to that. That was a pretty good movie also. Um, uh, but I'll kind of leave it at that. But yeah, Reminders of Him was a solid movie, pretty good, and uh, definitely a certain class of movie. So if you like those types of movies, you're likely to enjoy that particular movie. um, so I enjoyed it pretty well, uh, and would somewhat recommend it. Same like somewhat recommend it because it's just like it is what it is, and uh, it's one of those movies that I would kind of look for in a collection or try to find somewhere in streaming to turn it on if I wanted to see it again. I was like, oh, there, that movie. Yeah, we haven't watched this together, so let's turn this on. That kind of thing. So there we are. But anyway, a little while back was Crime 101. Really good, I believe. I enjoyed it a great deal. Um, I'm not going to get into the questions it asks or the different things. It's a pretty well done film. All right, it's solid. It has these character developments and stuff like that are really good and played well. So it was very solid, very well done, um, and put out there. So um, yeah, I'm not gonna get deep into that and some of the oh man, some of the car chase and stuff like that. Some of the action scenes are really good. Excellent, very thought provoking in certain uh, things. I'm trying not to say thought provoking to the extent that they try to claim. Some people try to claim to be more really particular about it. Some people would be trying to claim that it gets you to think whether or not this is really a crime, what's being done and stuff like that. No, that's a crime. I mean, it's in the title, Crime 101. So I'm not going to go there. I'm talking about the other stuff that uh, is thought provoking about it. Okay, so I'm not having any gray area as far as the crime is concerned. Um, so yeah, I'll leave that uh, right there. Mercy is another movie a little while ago that came out. It's out streaming now. I think that's on Prime. I'm not sure. That I heard a lot of backlash about, and I, 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 I don't know why. I have some problems with some of the movie, but it's part of the film. So uh, if I had my rathers, or druthers or whatever you want to call it, if it were me trying to do something, I might want to do it a different way. But it is what the characters are and what the story is and what happens and stuff like that. Um, which is fine. That's it's okay. So it telling the story that way is perfectly fine. I think, and so I had a good time with it. I enjoyed the action, the special effects, the way that they did certain things and transitions that they did have, the way that he's looking for evidence. Um, the one major flaw that I would say is the idea that AI is developing some kind of conscience or something like that, uh, which is what it seems like, at least in some places, glitches or whatever. It's like, whatever. Um, that's the thing. I was like, I understand why they did it, but like, yeah, that's kind of the unbelievable. Um, one of those science things, that I can pull away from, but the rest of it overall, and I don't think that AI would need feelings or something like that to come to the conclusion that it comes to in the film. So um, that's where I am with that, and I enjoyed it enough to want to go and watch it again and try to get somebody else to watch it with me. I also watched recently Playdate on Prime. I don't know if it coming out big in the theater anywhere. Playdate with isn't it? Oh yeah, Alan Richson and um, I'm forgetting his name now. Kevin James. That's it. And of course a couple of children and then some other side characters. It's it's ridiculous. But it's a ridiculous, fun action comedy kind of movie. Not as grounded as the Mark Wahlberg Family Plan. I think is what that was called, the Family Plan. And there's two of those. So that is a more grounded kind of action, um, special, specially trained, person kind of thing. Um, Playdate is truly has ridiculous things in it, like Spy Kids level certain things stuff in it. That's that's crazy, but it was funny. It makes you laugh, and so enjoyable. Overall, utter enjoyable. Um, had a good time. The Wrecking Crew, much more grounded, with Dave Batista and Jason Momoa, and investigating their father's hit and run death. So uh, I'll leave it with that. That's what happens. I'm not going to tell you anymore. Yeah, but good action in it, good fight scenes. Um, no real nitpicks or anything like that. Other than with all these movies, they can take out the foul language from these movies and do so much better than that. There's no need for all this stuff. I know it's been around for a long time, but it's just absolutely unnecessary. And there certain movies prove that with how well they're done, and there's no language in it, and uh, just you can just put it away, guys. Filmmakers, you don't need this stuff in your movies. All right, so let's keep on going. I want to say I mentioned Shelter before with Jason Statham. Shelter to me is a good movie. Um, I know he's coming out with movies pretty quick, and Beekeeper. Hopefully, Beekeeper 2 is coming out soon. Uh, and I understand like next February, and I hope something else with him comes out too, because I enjoy seeing Jason Statham for what he is for all those kind of movies. I see differences between that and the Beekeeper and a working man, and this movie Shelter. There's whether or not he's specially trained, you know, whatever. A working man was much more grounded and specific to, um, you know, certain situations that exist in our world, whereas a beekeeper was too, but it was sort of unbelievable because the idea was there's this group of people, the beekeepers, that would be looking into that situation and deal with those, you know, sort of wrongdoers. Whereas a working man, it doesn't portray it as if he's a part of a crew that's trying to deal with that subject. No, this happens in his vicinity, in his circle, so he is trained and capable of doing something, and so he goes to do it. And to me, they're very different groundings, if you will. And there's somewhat more fun to be had with the Beekeeper movie, whereas the because of the way they play it, there's fun to be had. It's still tragic what the basis of the story that our elderly are being scammed and stuff like that out of their earnings and their life savings and everything. It is a dreadfully terrible thing that, you know, we would love to see put a stop to. Basis of the film. So there you have it. There's a lot in it. But anyway, a working man um, has a different feel to it. For me, I don't make him the beekeeper character. I'm gonna look for the movie for what character that's it's supposed to be. What is it? That's the one I'm going to you know hold on to through the movie and say, okay, how are they playing it that way? So they both work for me. They're both great. I like a working man a little more in the sense of the groundedness of it. And I would love to see something to that effect be able to be done uh, by people that are capable. Again, it's just there's situations, and but I am coming from that the a working man has the same, or well, a similar basis, not the same basis, similar basis to that movie with Jim Caviezel. I'm forgetting the name of it now. Um, that caught a lot of flack. It was a true story, and the news loved the true story of it years ago when they ran it. And they were like, "Oh, this is great." The movie comes out, and then they turn against the movie and the guy and try to tear him down. The real person, it's a true story. So, and I forget, um, I forget the movie, the name of the movie. So forgive me, I apologize, but look it up, Jim Caviezel, and his work with trying to rescue uh, um, enslaved children, trafficked in sex trade. So again, true story. So look up the true story, and they played it pretty tight to the true story, if I remember right. That was reported on the news. You can go check those kind of things out. So a working man comes off of that, and I come from enjoying that movie and saying, yes, I would like to see more of that. These agents being able to do this, and it's certainly exaggerated, with the hero aspect of it. Um, but it is that's the way you get people to come to a movie, or watch a movie, or have it be more appealing to be out and about. You know. So anyway, uh, the working man. Like I said, if I were to put beekeeper and working man up, it may depend on how I feel that day, but usually just a general regular day, I'm gonna prefer to watch a working man than the beekeeper. And then the Shelter, the movie Shelter, to me tells a different story. It's it's not, to me, it's not out there. It's not really different or really difficult to buy into. But then again, I really love the Jason Bourne movies, and there's a similarness to some of this with Jason Bourne. Uh, uh, so I really enjoy those, the whole of them. But uh, this is not the same. But like I said, there's an aspect of it that's somewhat similar, and it therefore is enjoyable. There, to me, I like it. But it comes from that kind of realm. Again, different from these other ones. So it's just the way that those are played. Watched an old movie on Prime recently. I think it left Prime, though, called The Wraith. An old Charlie Sheen movie with a a what is it called? Concept cars, a Dodge concept car that's not necessarily referred to as the Wraith, but it is essentially that connected with the Charlie uh, Sheen character. Um, but you know, terrible, terrible acting in a lot of places. Terrible um, editing, really. This nonsensical. Uh, when the cars race each other and one's in front of the other one, all of a sudden the other one's in front of that, and they've switched places and they're swerving, back and forth. Anyway, nonsense, but there's some kind of weird 80s fun to be had with it and enjoy it. Again, not good acting. Several things that are just dreadfully bad in it. Um, doesn't really tell a great cohesive story. It has some really stupid things within it, but then again, there are several things in the 80s that tell uh, some relationship nonsense that we would be like, that wouldn't happen. Several, like I said, several 80s um, movies have a very similar um, story plot, if you will. You might call them MacGuffins. Even there are probably a bunch of MacGuffins in these types of movies. But anyway, overall, though, I enjoyed it um, for a certain nostalgia of it and seeing certain cars and seeing mostly these races and then laughing at some stupidity in some things that are happening. There's one character like I want to say drinks battery acid or drinks gasoline or something like that. Drinks some hydraulic fluid. That kind of nonsense is just it's like that's so stupid. Why would you do something like that? But um, reminded me of some 80s movies. Maybe that's more what I liked about it. The concept car and the racing, and then reminding me of some 80s. Maybe you would call it nonsense. Maybe I would not mind it being called nonsense. So, but yeah, that's a movie I watched not too long ago. The Wraith, recommended sort of by um, Tyrone Magnus. So you can go try to find a video where he talks about it. But I think he's recommended it mainly just to see the car. Okay, and again, that may be that's a big part of the reason why I liked it because it was fun in that way. But still, terrible movie though. Really, if it did not have those things, it would not have appealed to me at all. So anyway, done. Couple other movies. Let's see here. We're gonna forget about those. We got that done. All right, some three horror movies to close us off. Scream 7. Uh, I may have talked about this. I can't remember whether or not I did or gave this thing, but Scream 7 started out strong. I think started out good. I say strong. Um, I I think that's the right word. The word I want to use anyway. Strong, good, making sense, working, uh, all of that. It it was all good to begin with, and through a lot of it, it was going in a good direction. I thought there was a certain role to it that was pretty cool that I was enjoying. Um, but and I saw it happen. I saw when it happened, like on screen. Like, okay, I know the rest of the story, and it hurt me sort of while I was watching it because I was like, I don't want this. And to me, it ended up they kind of basically dropped the ball. Not entirely. There's some parts of it that pan out in the end that finish off It's like, okay, this is good. Um, but it became ridiculous at some points, like cops not checking things, not being very aware of their surroundings, kind of stuff. That kind of throws me off. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to see that nonsense, you know. So it had certain things that hit at the end. It was like, uh, not good, not good, not good. But it didn't totally destroy the enjoyment of the rest of the movie or ruin the 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 um the payoffs completely. Not completely. They went a direction that, again, if it were me, I would have chosen a different direction and stayed in a certain direction and tried to um you know so several things would have to be rewritten to get to the ending I would have wanted, um for the reasons I would have wanted it. But it could have been done. Writers could have done it that way. I kind of understand why they didn't and why they played it off the way they did. And it works a little bit, but there's a few things that are just so ridiculous that I failed to buy it. And I saw it coming and I was like, okay. All right. That's the way they want to go with it. Try to pay attention to the parts of the story that are really working for me and really, you know, come together. That's what I tried to do. And so ultimately, I was fine with it. I enjoyed it mostly, like I enjoyed most of the movies, really, and find some failures in some of it. But yeah, that's where it is. Um, let's see here. I'm trying not to forget any movies that I want to think about in the meanwhile. But anyway, um, I watched another two movies that are similar to each other, but at separate times, about a week apart or so. And those movies are Ready or Not. I don't know whether to say two or Here I Come. When the movie comes on, it says Ready or Not, Here I Come. I think that's the proper title for it. So, but the second Ready or Not movie. The first one, I am not a huge horror fan, if you will, uh, and I have my issues with these two movies I'm going to talk about that um, maybe uh, maybe don't matter to anybody else. I think, but Ready or Not, the first one, uh, it's been out for years. So if you haven't seen it, sorry, spoiler alert. But the what they get into, what they tell you, and of course it pays off as being true. Uh, is more developed in this. It almost goes in the route of a John Wick kind of sequel. I heard somebody compare it to that, where the first movie didn't delve into the lore so much. This one goes into the lore, and if they go into a third movie or any more movies, then more lore, that kind of thing. And they can go all kinds of directions with that. But anyway, um, Ready or Not, Here I Come. Um, Again, all the language can be removed from movies, and I would never miss it. Okay, none of it's necessary. So, uh, that being said, um, there's something that can be enjoyed in seeing these characters. Um, in the first one, uh, Samara Weaving's character, getting married and having to hide from this family trying to uh, kill her before they all uh, die, right? Uh, Satanic stuff going on. So this is somewhat similar. It's a different story, different idea to this, but it's following up that. And there's just the horror element kind of things is not necessarily the chase or the any kind of fear in that. That's more played comedically, if you will, and so is the gore stuff. So you know, there's nothing of realistic stakes, if you will, in these kind of movies, and so I'm not a great big horror film fan. I've only watched Ready or Not, the first one and a half times, maybe a little bit of the second time. It's not something that I just want to go to and say, oh yeah, I want to see this. Nor this one. I'm just not gonna go and try to see it again. Um, might get it on Blu-ray or something to have it, collected. But but it was enjoyable enough. And some people are going to have a great deal of fun with it. I think it was a solid follow up to the first one and a good, fairly good sequel. The problems I have with it, I'll talk about after. Well, the major problem, I'll talk about after I talk about the second movie. So that one, it is what it is. There's fun that people have with the chase and the ridiculousness of exploding bodies and stuff like that. So it it and it was funny. It had some funniness to various things. Um, there's just several scenes, and certain characters, very funny. Elijah uh, Woods, I think I'm pretty sure. Um, yeah, so I mean, solid. Certain people are gonna like it even more. But they would be like, "Why didn't you like it more?" Just it's not my cup of tea, if you will. I'm not going to highly recommend it like I did some of these other movies before. So the next movie is then They Will Kill You. They Will Kill You. Um, came out a week after the Ready or Not Here I Come. They have some similarities to them, so people have very much stated those things. I haven't really looked into um the success of They Will Kill You. Apparently, Ready or Not was successful enough. Like, unless I'm misthinking about their budget kind of concerns and constraints. But anyway, They Will Kill You. There it's got a lot of ridiculousness to it, and it is coming at this with a story. It's like huge plot holes that really bother me. That I'm like, this is wrong, and it would have made it where there was no movie. Okay, so uh, spoiler, you're gonna see it very early in the movie, so it's not really a spoiler. But the reason why and this was in the trailer, she's good at fighting is because she learned to fight in jail. Okay, great. Why was she in jail? Because she shot her stepfather or half father. I didn't follow exactly that, but whatever it was, she shot him, but she didn't kill him, and she ran away and dropped the gun, and she got arrested for it, attempted murder or whatever they wanted to call it. And so she ran away, but left her little sister there uh, to be taken away by um, evil uncle and dad, stepdad. That is such a glaring dreadfully glaring problem that she would do that, that I don't forgive the movie for doing that to me. I don't forgive them for saying that she would shoot the man, know he's still alive because he's still clawing and crawling around, and not shoot him again to kill him and protect her sister or get her sister and, you know, run away or whatever. And then let the plot somehow come that she still got arrested for the murder, but the, the other child went into, you know, um, what do you call it? Foster care, or something like that, rather than, the way that they told the story. Like, because that it's just ruined it for me. The character has this inexplicable flaw, and like, well, I don't care. I do not want to follow the movie so much, but otherwise shot well, choreographed very well. Special effects are good. Still crazy what happens to certain things. Defying the laws of physics. An eyeball rolling around does not have the capability to do something like that. And seems like the eye would need to be cleaned. Um, they don't really address any of that, which is fine because they're kind of making a silliness movie. It's not really to be taken seriously. They're trying to tell you, don't take this seriously. Da 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 da. This isn't serious. We're just having a laugh. There's craziness to it. There's a lot of stuff. The first kill is it made me laugh. It takes me out of a horror movie to just be an action, grotesque, slasher kind of thing. People have compared it to Kill Bill and trying to portray it that way. You cut off a leg or something. 2 seconds later, the blood starts spurting out of it crazily. Um, Something like that. And bright red blood and stuff, so forth. Uh, this is it is what they made it, and I did not really care, um, but I do give credit to some performances. Those are all fine, and same thing with Ready or Not, Here I Come. Performances are all fine. It really, I would say, better than They Will Kill You, but They Will Kill You, of course, is supposed to be this satanic cult hotel and um, so forth. And I won't go into spoilers at the end of it and stuff. But the real problem I have with these types of movies here is that I think they're, well, basically, I think that they're making light of a subject that actually is serious and is actually, um, according to what I understand and what I believe, uh, actually out there, not necessarily in the form they put it, but it's out there happening. Stuff is happening, and dealing with satanic rituals and satanic cults. There is the existence of those things, and um, better not to be made light of in a in an inappropriate way. And I think these movies do cross that line in the way that they portray it and try to make the audience say, yeah, none of that's serious. None of that really matters. It's not important. Forget it. That kind of thing. Um, because uh, I do believe that it's important to take that issue seriously. Uh, it's a it's a solemn issue, and it should be considered with real solemnity. Okay, this is different than Scream, although it's it may be becoming more and more campy, if you will, and bad style, goofy kind of stuff. It may head toward that, the Scream franchise. Hopefully not. Pull it back and just make it what they've been making it. It is what it is. But yeah, these movies dealing with satanic cults or rituals, that kind of thing. What do you do? What do you do? Um, I'm gonna take the subject matter more seriously than the movie is doing, in my opinion, and therefore, they they just fall short of being a truly enjoyable film. Ready or Not, Here I Come, to me, a little better, sort of maybe, and maybe they don't do this, sort of going in the lore realm, like John Wick, and uh, I had my hesitancy with all of that. I buy into it enough, and I'm like, okay, this is what we're gonna do, and it's enjoyable enough. Uh, all of the John Wick franchise, sub franchise so far, and we'll see what they do coming up soon with it, and yeah, we'll just see what they do with it. So that's all of those movies, anticipated movies coming up soon. Michael for Michael Jackson. I'm going to be there to watch Supergirl when it comes out. I'm expecting to be disappointed by it. So if it doesn't disappoint me, I'm going to be pleasantly you know entertained. Uh, but that's where I am. I just don't have any confidence in James Gunn. So I've said that enough, though. I'm not going to say anymore. Going on, uh, there's another movie. Oh, In the Gray is coming out in May, so that's going to be. I'm going to be there right away. And then there is coming out after Supergirl. Um, well, there's a movie out right now called Beast that I want to see, but I may be waiting for it to come out on disc. It seems to not be opening earlier in the day. It's just, evening tide kind of stuff. I don't know that I can really get out there and do that. But anyway, Beast, I kind of want to go see. And it's one other movie that's open now that I would like to go see. But upcoming, coming. Before I tell you the last one, June 5th, though, last one I'm looking forward to right this moment. Okay. Uh, just because I didn't name the movie you're looking forward to or you think that I should have named doesn't mean I'm not looking forward to it. The only one I'm going to mention now, the last one I'm going to mention today, He-Man, Masters of the Universe, or Masters of the Universe movie. That's one of my, possibly my most anticipated movie for this year. I am definitely looking forward to it. And I haven't seen anything that has dissuaded me from really believing that it's going to be what I want it to be. So that's where I'm at. Okay, is that I think that's my most anticipated movie. Now Michael is close. And Michael might even turn out to be a better movie than Masters of the Universe. I don't know. I feel like they're different docudrama, if you will, um, versus a sci-fi fantasy film. I think they're separate enough to where I'm not going to say, yeah, this is better than. I'm not comparing the two. I don't think I will. So anyway, those would be my two most anticipated movies. Comment below. Let me know what you think about any of the movies I mentioned. Maybe you say something that makes me rethink the way I talk about certain of these films, and you can just let me know. Um, uh, but anyway, uh, that's where that's all I'm gonna say today about these things. Bye. We'll see you in the next video.